Hi, good morning. Happy Monday. Today is March 8th. Can you even believe it? The year has flown by. So many changes. Okay, so today we're going to do about a 35-minute practice. We're going to work out some kinks in the neck, in the shoulders, and do some kind of grounding poses today to bring energy inward and to kind of ground our energy toward the earth. So I have a blanket, I have a bolster close by. Bolster's not necessary, but at the end I do want to elevate our hips a little bit when we're cooling down. So if you have a pillow or a block that you can slip under your hips instead of a bolster, maybe you have that handy. And we're gonna start seated. So I have no idea who's on. I'm assuming it's Pat and Bob. I'm assuming Linda's there. Maybe my mom's connecting, Brenda. But we're gonna go ahead and get started. All right, Missy, please don't knock over. Okay, we have Wild Kitty in the house. See how this goes. All right, let's start seated. I'm on the edge of my blanket to elevate the hips a touch to give nice length to the spine and openness to the chest and the back body. Space between the ribs and the head of the hip bones. And you can see that when you elevate your hips, your thighs kind of descend downward away from the hips a bit, excuse me. And then you can really sit nice and tall with more ease and less strain in your back. All right, so let's sit tall. We're gonna go through a little bit of cat and cow seated. So we're gonna let the hands slide out to the knees and tuck the chin and tuck the belly back. That's our exhale. Our inhale, we're gonna open the chest, roll the shoulders back. Exhale, round your upper back, open between the shoulder blades. Inhale, create space between the ribs and open the throat. And now just move at your own pace, back and forth with your breath. Then we're going to start to kind of roll the spine in somewhat of a circle around the midline of the body, really rolling out the chest and the upper back. And then after maybe 3 rounds, switch direction. And we'll sit tall, and we're gonna lower one ear over one shoulder, chin down toward the chest, chin up toward the sky, all back and forth a little bit, loosening up any kinks in the neck, and then chin toward the middle of the chest as you roll the opposite ear over the other shoulder. And then gently rotate the head up and down. And then chin to chest, slowly lift the crown of the head, stack it over the ribs, open the arms wide, and then we're gonna flip one palm face up and the other at a time, kind of like a twist. So I'm doing opposite directions. So one arm will be internally rotating while the other one goes external. And then we'll go thumbs straight back, drop the bottom of the the shoulder blade under, and then just from the elbow to the palm, face down. One hand over, one arm up. Oh, release the weight of your head. Let your head gently rotate. So chin toward the chest and then chin away from the chest. And then ear right over the shoulder, head is still, and then exhale, reach the inner arm alongside the ear. Take one full breath here. Exhale, down into the hips. Inhale, draw yourself up. Exhale, other side. Arms straight up, and then rotate the chin toward the chest or the floor. Back up. Moving it any way that feels like you're releasing the neck. And then when it is still and you're looking forward, exhale and extend the bicep alongside the ear. Feel the movement of the breath. And inhale and come up. Okay, let's interlace the fingers behind the back and extend through your inner arm bones. We're straightening the arms if possible and lifting the chest, lifting the chin slightly. And if you can't interlace the fingers, then maybe just grab one wrist, or you can hold the opposite elbows and just take the inner shoulder slightly back. And then we'll let that release. And let's come to all fours. Into table pose. Open those fingers nice and wide, and we'll go through cat back. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat back. Cow. Cat back, and then we're gonna sit back on the heels in child's pose, letting the forehead rest either on the floor or a prop, but releasing the weight of your head into something to soften the visceral body and to deepen the action of the breath. Then inhale, look up, walk your hands back up to the hips as you come up onto the shin bones. And we'll step 1 foot forward. Knee is pretty much over the heel, and we're gonna exhale, hinge the hips down and forward. Inhale and pick the hips up, and exhale down and forward. One more time. And as those hips are down and forward, ground through the top of the back leg. Inhale the arms up overhead. Spin the pinky toward the midline. Look up. Deepen the breath. As the feet plant down, the space between the navel and the pubic area scoops up energetically. It's lifted. Now head comes to neutral, and we're going to stack the back hip over the knee and interlace the fingers behind the back. Straighten the arms if possible, otherwise you're holding the elbows. Open your chest and lengthen the inner arm bones back. Now exhale, hips down and forward. And open the chest. Spine in and up. Feet are firmly grounded. Belly, low belly scoops in and up. Then head comes to neutral. Stack the back hip over the knee, arms up, and then exhale. Place the hands down, tuck the back toe, step into plank pose. And either hold it here or come down to your forearms and hold it here, or you can have your knees lowered at any time, or firm those hips and tap your shoulders with the opposite palm. We're going to stay for 10 more seconds. And now we're going to walk our feet forward, your foot distance, lift your hips high, and come into downward dog. Pedaling out the legs, bending one knee at a time. Lengthening the underside of your arm. Moving the front of your ribs in the direction of your thighs as the hips lift nice and high. Come to stillness with the legs. Look up between your thumbs and step the opposite foot forward and drop down onto the back knee. Come on up, hands at your hips. Inhale and then exhale, hips down and forward. Inhale, bring them back up. Exhale, lunge. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, arms spin up, pinkies to the midline. We're reaching skyward as we inhale. We're grounding the legs as we exhale. Inhale, stack your back hip over the knee, interlace your fingers, maybe with the opposite thumb on top this time. And then lengthen the arm bones. Feel free to hold your elbows instead. Look up and exhale. Hips down and forward, and open the chest. Breathing. And then we're gonna stack that back hip over the knee, release the arms, let them float overhead, inhaling. Exhale, ground the palms, tuck your back toes. Step to high plank, forearm plank, any of those. And then we're gonna come to side plank. So turning onto the sides of the feet, lift the top arm. If you're down on your forearms, you can do it with one knee down, one leg straight. You could come with both legs straight and stack the arches of your feet. If you want more, say you're looking to strengthen, then lower your hips, lift your arm. Okay, we're holding 10 more seconds. So really activate, push into the floor, whether it's your forearm or the grounded hand. And stretch nice and tall. Let the top arm come down. And then drop your knees, sit back on your heels. Take a full breath in child's pose. Look up between the hands. Open those fingers wide. Come back into your variation of a plank, and then side plank. Either toe in front of or heel in front of the toes, or stack the arches of your feet. You have the variation of coming down to the forearm, or maybe you exhale, hips lower, inhale, hips high. Keep breathing wherever you are. Modify as you need to. Little bit of heat coming into the inner body, and then exhale, lower those knees, sit back on your heels, rest the forehead. Child's pose. Inhale, look up, all fours, tuck your toes, exhale back, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. Let's walk the feet together, arches of your feet line up. You're gonna lift one leg into three-legged dog. Then you're gonna take the big toe and your first toe and hook your Achilles tendon of that grounded foot. And you're going to gently kind of lower energy down into that heel as you smooth out the breath. Now lift that top leg high and then open up your hip and roll the heel toward the opposite buttocks and look under your armpit. Use your hamstring strength to draw the heel toward the outside edge of that hip. And now we're going to look down at the mat. You're going to bring that knee up to the nose and plant it at the top of the mat. We're going to come into triangle. So the back heel steps forward a touch as you ground the foot at the ankle, and then slide your arm up your shin bone all the way under your knee. Take this other top arm, roll the shoulder back, and now you can be in full triangle here, or something we're going to try to really open the neck is you're gonna turn your palm away from the front of your room, away from you, and bend your front knee and reach the hand behind you, grab the top of your thigh, or just hold onto your clothing. And then start to straighten the leg. You can stay up high or come down a little lower. And now release the weight of your head completely. And we're doing that same thing where we just rotate the chin a touch. And you may find some really nice areas in the scalenes of the neck that need a bit of massage here. Sometimes I even feel like my inner ear sort of open. Oh, and then pause and extend the crown of the head away from the shoulders. Smooth out your breath. Gently start to release that arm if you have it wrapped. Comes up overhead, and then we're gonna exhale, hand to the hip. Bend your front knee and widen your stance so that this front knee comes right over the heel. Lift your chest and take this arm. Either you can do forearm to thigh, you can do hand down, or wrap the arm around underneath the thigh. Take the top arm, grabbing the hands together, rolling your chest open. Deepen the breath. So like I said, you can have hand here by the foot, but you can even be on your forearm and your thigh. One more breath, and we're gonna inhale and come up. Turn your toes to the other side, and then we're gonna bend the front knee. You're gonna take the top arm around, grab that thigh. Am I doing this right? Yes. And then, no, that's not, I'm so confused, I'm looking at myself. And then we're coming into triangle. So a little differently. This time we're exhaling into it rather than sliding up the leg. And again, let the weight of your head totally release. Feel the muscles of the legs toning around the bones. When you find a good spot in the neck, breathe into that. Reach the crown of the head and the tailbone in opposite directions. And then we're gonna look down toward that grounded foot in front, bend the knee, and we're gonna widen that stance. So back leg slides back, and you either come forearm to thigh, top arm by the ear, or hand down by the inner ankle, or you can come into a bind, wrapping that bottom arm underneath, top arm around the back, rolling the chest open. Exhale, look down. This time we're gonna frame our hands around that front foot, roll onto the ball of your back foot so you can step into downward dog. Coming into that three-legged dog, match the arches of the feet together. The opposite foot lifts this time. And then we hook the other Achilles with the big toe and the first toe and ground the energy of the heel downward as the energy of the hips goes skyward. Then open to three-legged dog, roll the top hip back so that you're rolling the chest, and then heel to buttocks. Look under the opposite armpit. Breathe softly. Then inhale, roll the hips back, look up between your thumbs, plant that foot at the top of the mat, and then walk your hands around so that you point your toes facing forward, slightly pigeon-toed. Inhale, open the chest. Exhale, let the weight of the head be nice and relaxed. Firm legs, soft spine, soft neck, heavy, heavy head. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, walk your hands to your hips, turn the tailbone under slightly. Inhale and come up. We're gonna do another chest opener, shoulder opener by interlacing the fingers behind the back. If that doesn't work for you, you're grabbing your elbows or your wrist instead. Inhale, open the chest, gaze at the brow as you exhale and come over. Getting the awesome effects of an inversion as the head is below the heart. Blood flow moving with ease back to the heart. Lots of blood to the brain. Inhale and come all the way up. Open your arms out to the sides. Walk your heels in a little closer. Toes are out at an angle toward the corners of the room as we lower down back to the earth through a squat. Feel free to let the heels lift if they need to, or they stay grounded as we do our best to bring the spine in and up, to spread the collarbones wide, to sit down into the hips, and then down onto the earth. Coming down into Baddha Konasana, drawing our heels in close to the hips, holding those ankle bones or the big toes. Push the heels together and squeeze the buttocks muscles. Feel space between the floating ribs and the head of the hip bones. Space between the fronts of the shoulders. And space between the tailbone and the crown of the head. Then draw the knees together. Take your feet straight out in front for Dandasana. Toes back toward the chest, fingers behind you, elbows bending toward the back of your room as the chest lifts up and away from the thighs. Firm back body. Start to walk your hands forward and then roll your shoulders back. We're hinging at the hips, so the back is straight at first, and then once you can grab the feet with ease and you can keep broadness between the ear and the shoulder and in the front of the chest, then start to round the back. Inhale, come up, and then we're going to bend the right knee and bring the sole of the foot to the inner leg. Sit tall, and again, hinge forward. Walk your hands out first, and then just observe your shoulders, and if they're hiking up, roll them back, and stick with the fingers down on the ground and a long front spine. But when you can grab that foot with no problem and the shoulders are back, then exhale, elbows up, out and forward. Breathing into the back body. Lots of breath into the kidneys in Jani Shirsasana. Inhale, come on up, walk your bent knee forward, bring the sole of the other foot in, extended leg is strong, sit tall, roll the pelvis, head of the hip bones come forward, fingers down, shoulders back, spine long, and if the foot's just looking at you, it's right there, grab hold of it, And exhale, nice forward fold. Inhale, start to rise up. Exhale, leg forward, then open your legs wide, Upavista Konasana. And we are going to set the eye of the knee straight up. You're gonna have your toes straight up, okay? Put the hands behind you and open the chest. If you wanna work some crazy strength in the legs, you might have maybe the legs come in a touch. You take your hands alongside the middle of the thigh, and then you lean forward. You can walk your hands out by the knee. You lean forward and you pick up this leg. 1, 2, 3, right? Work that. Try that on each side. Otherwise, you're sitting tall and you're grounding the thigh bones down. Then you walk the hands forward. Same thing, we're looking for space between the ear and the top of the shoulder. We're looking for length in the back body so we can coach that pelvis to roll. This is a really nice pose to have something to rest your forehead on if you're if you're about halfway to the floor or more. So if you have something close by, might want to bring it in, rest the forehead for that grounding effect, that calming and cooling effect in the inner body. Inhale, slowly come up. Use your arm strength to exhale and bring the legs together. And then we'll come into pigeon pose. So right knee is forward, left leg swings back behind. You can do this from downward dog, or you can just come on into it. As you know, the closer you have your ankle to your hip, the less intense it's going to be for that hip opener. Press into the fingers, inhale, open the chest, and exhale, come on down. Same thing, we want to rest the forehead on a prop. Okay, so that could be the ground, it could be the backs of your hands, or you might be even a little higher up on a pillow or a block. Stay tuned in with your breath. Observing where you're tight and moving the breath to those areas. One more nice full breath. Inhale, start to walk your hands and your face up, and then we're going to roll that bottom leg in toward the body. The knee that was bent in pigeon, you're going to bring that underneath and stack your other leg, that straight leg side, on top for Gomukhasana, cow face pose. Now, my feet are out wide because my hips are comfortable in that position. If yours are like strained or you're cocking off to the side, then bring your feet back next to your hips or just sit in a seated cross leg. Inhale and lift your arms wide, and then we're gonna grab one elbow. Doesn't necessarily matter which one, just remember which side you're doing. And stretch the tricep. Sit nice and tall. A lot of times the face really juts out here, or the chin juts out. So just like be aware of that and do your best to keep your head neutral over your ribs. Now we're going to slowly release the hands, let them come down in front. You can support yourself here if that's already a lot, if it feels intense, or you keep hinging over, bow over the legs, and relax the weight of the head. Inhale, slowly come up. You're going to take your top leg, it should be the opposite leg, toward the other edge of your mat for pigeon pose on the other side. So then the other leg swings back behind you. Square your hips. Press into the fingers to inhale and exhale. Come on over. Find something to rest the forehead on so the inner body can soften. The tongue also is soft. Tops of the shoulders. Drop back away from the ears. And the breath calms us, and the breath grounds us. Find a little more inner space as things begin to release with the breath. That inner spaciousness. On an inhale, walk the hands back as you lift the chest and the face. Then you sit on the outside of that hip, bringing the back leg around. But then we take that front knee and it's going to come underneath this time. And then that extended leg that was behind you should be on top this time. And if it got mixed up, just try to figure that out. It's not a huge deal if you do the same side twice. And then lift the arms. And we are going to open the opposite shoulder and stretch that tricep, stacking ribs over hips, crown of the head over the ribs. When you're ready, exhale, release your arms down in front. Come to a good place for you that's going to feel beneficial for the hips and not too much. And then we'll soften the back body as you listen gently for the sound of your breath. Inhale, rise up, and then we're going to uncross the legs and come down onto our backs. Have your prop close by, your pillow, your bolster, or a block. And we're going to come down onto our backs, heels planted on the outside edges of the hips. And you want the back of your head and neck free, so no ponytails. And then we're going to slide our prop right underneath the hips. So you push into the feet, lift the hips, slide that prop underneath. Make sure your prop is more on the tailbone side of your pelvis rather than your low back. Okay. And then we're going to have the elbows ground and the palms rest gently on the abdomen, space between your fingers. And we'll close down the eyes. Still deepening the breath here. So opening the abdomen, then the ribs, then feeling the chest lift on the inhale. And then soften the chest, the ribs, and the belly. Allow the muscles of the face to soften, as well as the corners of your eyes and the corners of your mouth. Soften the outer and the inner ears. With the breath, keeping your mind focused for 3 to 5 more rounds. Matching the length of your inhalation to the length of the exhalation. You're ready. Press into the feet, lift the hips, slide your prop out from under you, and come down really, really slowly. 1 vertebrae at a time. Open your arms wide like the letter T. Fold your knees over to one side. Inhale as your knees come to the center and exhale them to the other side. And then bring the knees back to the center. Arms stretch up overhead. Palms are face up. Reach the fingers away from the shoulders and then stretch your legs out long on the mat. Feet and fingers moving in opposite directions, and then exhale. Let your arms slide down to your sides, palms face up, and we'll just hang out in corpse pose for about a minute. Observing the weight of your body resting heavy onto the surface of the earth. Feeling spaciousness in the front body, in the palms and the soles of the feet. softness in the skin of the forehead and broadness in the back of the skull. Breath is back to its natural rhythm. Then we'll gently wiggle the fingertips, wiggle the toes. When you're ready, bring the knees up, roll to one side. Give thanks for your blessings. And when you're ready, come up to a seated position. Bringing the palms at the heart center. Neck is nice and long. Feel the breath one more time. And have a wonderful day. Namaste. And thank you for sharing your yoga. Thank you for being here. I will be back live on Wednesday at 10:30. All right, hope to see you then. Have a good one. Bye-bye.